Alright, hello everybody. This can be considered video number 3 of a 3-part video series. It might turn out to be a 4-part video series, but check this out. The other 2 videos are actually an hour-long video, so meaning that video 1 and video 2 are in an hour and 7-minute long video dedicated to this account. Now, both of those, that video and this one should be able to be uploaded tomorrow as long as nothing happens concerning phone jamming or any incident occurring at Bonds tomorrow that then affects my schedule, that then prevents me from uploading them. I'm going to go ahead right now and I'm going to play you about 20 minutes of an audio file that comes from the Techno Crime Fighters episode number 51. So pay attention very closely to these statements right here. In order to find the Techno Crime Fighters videos, what you want to do is you want to go to YouTube search box and type in, oh, let me backtrack for a second. Sorry about that. First thing you want to do is notate that the first 2 videos, which are actually one video, okay, which is an hour and 7 minutes long, you'll know you're in the right video in case I don't get the chance to title it right away. You'll know you're in the right video when you hear me at the beginning say that this video is going to be titled something along the lines of remote neural monitoring, memory, something to do with memory stimulation or something like that, and rape. So remember, it's the video that's an hour and 7 minutes long. This is a direct continuation of that video. Now, what I'm going to do here is, so in order to find the Techno Crime Fighters playlist, go to YouTube search box and type in Dr. Catherine Horton. Her name is spelled with a K. Stop 007. Now that's her YouTube channel name. Dr. Catherine Horton. Stop 007. Now when you go into her YouTube channel, you want to do is go into her playlist and look for the playlist that is titled Techno Crime Fighters. Go into it. Then watch, and I suggest that you tape record video number 51, 52, and 58. Those are the first 3 you want to watch. Then you want to watch video number 70 and 71. And then watch the rest. Now, what I briefly stated in video number, what I expanded upon in video number 2 and 3 is the in video number 1 and 2 is the composition of thoughts, and how our memory references are connected to current thought composition, and how it's reported online that both are being manipulated against, thought composition is being manipulated with Gangstalking victims via through remote neural monitoring capabilities, the features and functions of it, along with voice to skull and voice morphing, including in tricking women into doing things, and men, including using this neural weaponry for neural influencing to set victims up for rapes and then horrific things that are done as a result of the rapes. Okay? Now, trust me when I say, if you don't know anything about this crime at all, when you first start hearing about this stuff, you're going to think to yourself, no way in hell. Watch that first video, baby cakes, and research the descriptions in it as well. Research the descriptions you're about ready to hear in this video, the audio of the video I'm getting ready to play. Research them to Gangstalking, and do extensive research with a patient, mature posture. Because let me tell you something right now. There's doctors, scientists, professors, and tens of thousands of educated victims exposing this sick demonic shit. There's activists online exposing it. There's been books written concerning it, and there's been national radio shows about it, including ones I've been on. The only way that a human being can even approach the threshold of trying to survive this crime is by reporting what we are enduring, or at least what we know about concerning it, okay, and being patient in the hopes that one day somebody in our government will go after these filthy satanic whores and throw them in a dog cage where they absolutely belong. You should also know that the United Nations declared Gangstalking victims as being extreme torture victims in the cyber torture report back in February and March of 2020. There are tens of thousands of victims of this crime reporting it daily on all online platforms. The main implicated hosts of this crime are all U.S. intelligence agencies, branches of the U.S. military, state, county, and local police, working together as an up and operating organized crime syndicate within the system and using their power connected to their employment descriptions, okay, in order to be able to then effect their crimes within the communities. You should also research Neighborhood Watch Group and gang stalking. That's one of the main reported ways they're getting so many community members to do things against victims. You should also research slander and gang stalking as well. Hold on a second. And you should also notate that this crime is reported to be going on in every environment you can think of. Banks, post offices, movie theaters, grocery stores, restaurants, you name it. Any type of business you can think of, Google the hell out of it to gang stalking, including, obviously, universities and libraries. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to segue into playing the audio. In the prior video, the one that's an hour and 7 minutes long, it openly shows me state that if they can torture a gang stalking victim sadistically and endlessly, especially a victim who can prove that remote neural monitoring is interfacing with them, which the first video absolutely shows that it is interfacing with me, the remote neural monitoring islands implants that were discovered in my eyes at a live Periscope broadcast on June 3rd, 2020, and many subsequent videos that have been made since. It indisputably proves that remote neural monitoring is interfacing with me. So do you really believe that a bunch of wild, satanic, sadistic, filthy, mass murdering, criminally insane whores who are using this technology are only using one function and feature of remote neural monitoring? Meaning that, but not limited to, what are some of the other functions and features of this sadistic tech? Subvocal speech monitoring. Okay? So, you know, if you think to yourself, I've had it with the torture, I've had it with all these different crimes, and trust me when I say, one of the biggest aspects of this crime is labeling gang stalking victims as being mentally ill, a threat to themselves or others, or that they can't take care of themselves, somewhat detailed in the first video, which is an hour and 7 minutes long. Oh, excuse me, I just got done eating, sorry about that. Which is an hour and 7 minutes long. It briefly talks about that. Now, they are aware what they're doing to each and every victim that they're subjecting electromagnetic weapons torture against. They're aware of the depth of the torture, the amount, the effects, and how long it's been going on, day by day, nonstop, for years at a time. So they know what they've done to the victim. Okay? They know what they're still doing to the victim. They know if they're able to do this to tens of thousands of people, which you are reporting all over the internet, well, make no mistake about it, they have definitely set up protective measures to make sure that nobody is ever prosecuted and that all victims can't get no help. That's already a done deal. Google the hell out of it. Okay? So, the point being here is that when you are sadistically torturing somebody, sadistically torturing them in one form or another, nonstop every day, in one form or another, they know that human being is, especially when they know the educated level that the victim is at concerning this crime as well, because they watch all your internet activity, so they see everything you've discovered about this crime over time online by watching every single thing you do on your phone, single thing you do on your computer, libraries, computers, the whole 9 yards. So they're completely aware of everything that you have become educated about concerning this crime. So they know that you're not going to get no help. So they know that all victims are going to eventually get pushed to the point of public activism. Now, what you're going to hear in part from the audio of video of Techno Crime Fighters video episode number 51 that I'm getting ready to play here in a minute, is you're going to literally hear Romola D openly state that they threatened her and another individual through Voice to Skull if they published an article about, which was an article describing some of the one individual's torture that he was enduring. Retaliation is one of the biggest methods of gang stalking. If you go to YouTube search box and type in Roger Tulsis electronic harassment and watch enough of his videos, you'll clearly hear him state that if the government can subject you to electronic torture, electronic harassment, and victimize you so badly to where you just totally give up on your activism because your health is affected so bad you can barely get up to go to the bathroom or to make something to eat. Okay? So, with the feature and function of remote neural monitoring, the subvocal speech monitoring, they can tell that when they just got done torturing you, that you have decided to yourself that I ain't taking this no more. Tomorrow I'm going to get up and hold up a big gigantic white poster board with black magic marker lettering on it that says Google mass shootings and gang stalking and rape and gang rape and the police and universities and businesses. Well, they know you're going to do it because they know you've had enough and ain't going to take this shit no more. So they'll just electromagnetically torture you to death and or do other things to psychologically intimidate you out of that activism, which was detailed in video 1, which is a 2-part video series, the video that's an hour and 7 minutes long. This video, what you're about to hear right now, is some audio that's going to kind of back up and reinforce and complement what you heard in video 1. Okay? Now, when I say video 1, that's referring to the one that's an hour and 7 minutes long. So I'm sorry I'm repeating myself there, but it's just, it's got to do with some situations concerning my video recording situation that has to do with my microcard. So just bear with me. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start the audio now. So I want you to pay attention to every single thing you hear. Now, one of the main things you also want to pay attention to what you're about to hear is where Dr. Catherine Horton, who is she's got a PhD in physics. She used to work for CERN. She's got a lot of experience concerning this crime. She's got the educated knowledge and the intelligence, okay, to understand the data from the research of this crime. So trust me when I say she knows what she's talking about. Or I wouldn't be advertising her if she didn't. Because I've done a lot of exhaustive, extensive research myself, including researching what doctors and scientists are exposing, including the scientists that helped develop this technology. Okay, Dr. Robert Duncan. Okay, Google him to the Matrix Deciphered. Okay, so without any further ado, you're about ready to hear her talk about how they're putting implants in the vaginas and the rectals of women and then electronically raping them. And if you don't think that that can't happen, go to Google and type in the following name, which is the title of a book: Electronic Torture, Electronic Rape, Technology, and Gangstalking at the Post Office, written by Jewel Cran. Okay? And just go to Google and type in Remote Neural Monitoring Electronic Rape, which is basically the phantom touch feature and capability of remote neural monitoring. So listen to this and listen to it well, because what you're about ready to hear is going to blow your mind. You ready? Baby cakes, here we go.
Statements about love-ins, so they are the leaks, okay? But you also have people like Ruby on an interview with, I think it was with Sarah Westall, where he also confirms again that NSA employees have been found to be engaging in love-ins. You also have to know that love-in is not just reading your emails and, checking the email of your spouse or your girlfriend and making sure she isn't just chatting and flirting with somebody else. No. Love-in means you're also controlling the vaginal chips or whichever woman or man you fancy. Okay? And you can rape them by remote control. And I want everybody to be aware of this because today is International Women's Day, and today I did wake up not just with a total barrage of pulsed energy projectiles being fired into my shielded bunker from drones. 2 hours later, I was also raped by the chips that I have in my vagina. Okay? And I'm speaking now, I'm 100% open about this because I know I'm speaking for hundreds of thousands of women who get vaginally raped, rectally raped, as I am too, because I was chipped. And I can tell you pretty much exactly where I was chipped. I was chipped at Oxford University. Okay? I've now found that I can trace it back to the UK, and I'm 100% sure that I was chipped while I was at Oxford. So this means MI5 came into my student room and chipped me, all right, in the genitals and in my rectal tract. Now, why would an intelligence agency possibly need to know about my rectal tracts and my, vagina? But nevertheless, they have put my my genitals under surveillance, and they're not just under surveillance, they also engage in love-int. Okay, so some extremely sad fucks in British intelligence have been controlling my genitals. Okay, so this is the Snowden leaks are just the tip of the iceberg. Okay, so some of those massive documents is also this bit, but every single time you hear love-int, you have to know, aha, this is what it's about. It's about controlling your daughter's vagina, okay? Or it's controlling your penis, okay? Because men are raped exactly as frequently as women. Hi, Ramola, I'm glad you're back.
Hi.
I'm now finished with informing the world about love-int. Are you ready to rip into the wide article now that you're back?
Absolutely. Well, I'm so glad to see you're still on and going strong. Because I was bumped off huge. Sorry?
We have 122 people live in the chat, watching us live, waiting for your comeback. This is the most people we ever had, Ramola.
This is pretty amazing because, I'll tell you, I have to actually speak openly about this. I just published an absolutely bombshell article today on my website, and perhaps this is payback, from the little, the minor crowd over at the control room over there, master control room, who just fiddle around with our browsers as they like. So this article...
Can I just bring up the article in the background while you...
Oh, please do. Yes, absolutely.
I have to switch away from your screen, share my screen, and actually bring up...
Yes, do that.
.net, and there you will find the new bombshell article here. Is this the one coming?
This is it. And this is an interview with Omni, and many people know Omni. Omni is a musician, he's a filmmaker, he's a writer, he's a graphic designer, a web designer. He's an activist, okay? He's an activist who has been working very, very hard on various websites, putting massive amounts of information out there about these targeting and surveillance programs, about the ghastly weapons that are being used. And Omni is something of an insider because he has been reporting from the beginning. He's been reporting B2K and synthetic telepathy, which I know many of those who are targeted are also reporting. But he's been reporting being kind of drawn into this sort of secret enclave of a cybernetic network involving the very top, people from the intel agencies, people from further aspects of that big Bilderberger pyramid. So he talking to Omni is always extremely elucidating and enlightening. You notice I'm striving very hard to keep from using the word illuminating. We all know why. Because he offers such a deep insight into what these guys are really doing, and a lot of disclosure. So there is massive disclosure about what they're doing. Well, lately Omni's been talking to me about experiencing extreme neural abuse, and we decided to do an interview where he could actually present it. So he's been presenting different aspects of this neural abuse, including what Catherine's just highlighted, BCI cognitions, thoughts and images. So with the BCI system, which is a brain-computer interface system, which involves a brain chip, by the way. So all of those people who imagine that brain chips are not involved, that people are not being implanted, I suggest you wake up from that little dream you have, because people are being implanted and have been implanted for quite some decades now, and people are being neurally attacked with these implants. And forced speech is also something that Omni is reporting, whereby the neural inputs to one's vocal cords from one's own brain are being replaced through neural heterodyning with inputs from an external source via artificial intelligence, via a supercomputer, via somebody else's cloned brains. And that's being, piped into his brain, and he's reporting it. As you know, Chris Burton has also reported that, and I've done several interviews with Chris about it. Forced speech. One of the questions I asked Omni was, can you do anything about it? Can you stop this, can you stop these impulses? And he said, no, you just absolutely cannot resist. One of the main thrusts premise of Omni's interview was that he's being framed. He's being neurally framed. In other words, stuff is being pumped and piped into his head, right, by one group of thugs, right? Let's call them the CIA. And what they're doing is they're piping in synthetic images and putting words into his mouth, literally through forced speech, forcing him to verbalize and vocalize them. And then all the surveillance and monitoring that's being done by another group of thugs, say the FBI or the DOJ, I would imagine the FBI because they're connected with the DOJ, right? And we know that the DOJ is running these pre-crime neuromonitoring programs, predictive policing programs. There is information on that on the internet. And I have reported some of it in some of my articles, and I'll continue to do that. But you guys can just go and type neurocrime, type predictive policing into YouTube, and you'll find some videos. You'll find some neuroscientists talking about that who are working with the DOJ. So there's this other group of thugs, as I said, let's say that the FBI monitoring and surveilling and picking up the impulses, monitoring the forced speech, monitoring the images, monitoring the brain, okay, via remote neuromonitoring, and thereby engaging in massive framing. And so he's also had V2K tell him that he's being framed, and he's being framed for his activism because he's actually reporting to the world what is going on and what he's hearing and what he knows about. And, this is a huge attempt to block him and to stop the activism. So I highly recommend that everybody read that article. And so I suspect that it's this article that has sort of set off alarm bells among the, intel hooligans who are trying to get away with this. And I should say also that both Omni and I were threatened during the creation of this interview. Through V2K, through Omni's V2K, he received, literally threats, I think, saying that they were going to target me more severely if I published the article, and they were going to target him more severely. They were going to, totally clamp him down. So I think what Omni's done is a brilliant thing over here, because he's totally reported what has been going on, He's reported everything from the dark, deep bowels of these black obsters. So they think they can get away with it by maintaining silence, maintaining secrecy, and using V2K and synthetic telepathy to project their threats into the world. You see, who's going to believe that, we're in your head? So their intention, as we know, played out also in that Wired article, Catherine, which I know we're going to rip into in a minute, their intention most definitely is to call every single reporting victim and every single whistleblower, because I see every reporting victim of targeting and surveillance abuse as a whistleblower. As a journalist, I think it's my job to simply report, record, document, and project into the world. And so it seems to me everybody's whistleblowing about what these programs are all about. These are black ops programs. They are deadly programs. They are dirty programs because they are using invasive, highly invasive brain technology to take over people's brains.
That's right. Absolutely. And Ramona, I've got so many things to back up, but first of all, I would like to highlight one thing that I'm very pleased about, because your audio and video are excellent. Wonderfully.
Oh, brilliant. How did that happen? I want to... I re-downloaded. Maybe that helped.
Right. The NSA usage.
I did tweet to them, I did congratulate them on their successful efforts in incriminating themselves as we strove to inform the world of their war crimes.
I love it when they generate evidence, every question out. Absolutely. The one thing I wanted to say, we are now at 127 people listening. This is again another record. 128. It just keeps going up and up and up, listening live. Now, I've got another thing thing to say to back up this entire BCI. So I also would like to say that I have experienced remote neurohacking, remote biorobotization. They are opening and closing my fists. Some days I wake up by them, opening and closing my fists, but very dangerously. Chris Burton, I encourage everybody to go to the interview Ramola did with Chris Burton. He also reported something that is called, so he was taken over. They talked to him through his ear chip, through voice to skull, and they said, okay, Chris, let's try the accelerator pedal, and they moved his foot like that to the accelerator, and I have to say they have done that with me. They have done that with me in the home, but I've noticed that they did that with me several times to actually make me accelerate, and this is serious, people, I'm not just making this up, to accelerate through traffic cameras. So I'm basically taken over, I can feel the current on my scalp, and I think I'm pretty sure I've got chips in my brain as well, but they suddenly induce you, you literally, and you cannot help yourself because your thoughts are being taken over, and the entire current is external, so you can't help yourself, and they have literally accelerated, and I couldn't help accelerating through a traffic camera. I've done that several times.
Very important to mention that, Catherine. Thank you for bringing that up, because I think what Chris has reported is indeed that his foot was taken over by a wave whereby his entire leg was kind of pumped on that pedal 100 times, and he had no volition whatsoever. He had no control whatsoever.
All right, now I'm going to stop that just for a second here because I want to make a couple statements. I'm going to eventually make a video number 4 and or 5 so I can include some additional audio from separate interviews. And one of those interviews shows Deborah Tavares, excuse me, please, interviewing a woman who's also doing the same kind of research into all the different types of implants that are being put in and discovered to be in gang-stalking victims. And she talked, I literally got an audio of one of the interviews. And this particular audio literally shows this woman state that there was a podiatrist from UCLA who got retaliated against by another podiatrist that he was whistleblowing against. And the reason why he was whistleblowing against the other podiatrist was because that podiatrist was putting stimulated responsive implants into the feet of his patients non-consensually. So if you went to Google and typed in at Google, the bioeffects of psychotronics, the bioeffects of electromagnetic weapons, and you type that in at Google and press enter, and then when Google generates the responses from you, you definitely want to look at the responses. But what you also want to do is you want to go to that little spot where it says images, like at the top of the Google screen where it says news, videos, images, and stories and stuff like that. Click on where it says images, and then when you click on where it says images, you should be able to bring up a very, very massively exposed diagram of it's an outline of a body, and on the bottom of this outline, it shows it shows the text, say the bioeffects of electromagnetic weapons or psychotronics or something like that, and then so the outline of the body has a bunch of text that is written, some by the head, some by the shoulder, the torso, the arms, the legs, the hands, the feet, so that each text shows how electromagnetic weapons affects each part of the body. And down at the bottom, you'll see a little notation where it says, to excite the get up and go response. So the get up and go response is basically where your foot, when you're in your car and you press that gas pedal or your brake pedal, you're sending a signal from your brain to your foot to engage in that motor cortex associated behavior as a direct result of whatever's motivating you to step on the gas. Well, with voice to skull, they can put the idea in your head in your own voice print, voice to skull with voice morphing, to step on the gas while stimulating a stimulated responsive implant that's in your foot and possibly also in the lower shin part, the muscle that's located around the shin that leads up to the ankle. So whenever you get in your car and you press the gas pedal and or the brake pedal, make a special mental notation. in your mind to mentally notate how your foot and how that part of the shin feels when you're pressing on it and when you're releasing it. Because it's reported that that's where some of these stimulated responsive implants are being put at. So if they can neurally influence you to step on the gas by using voice to skull with voice morphine, while they stimulate the stimulated responsive implant that's in the foot and or in the musculatory system of the area of the leg that's right by the shin, that's right above the ankle, then what they're doing is sending you an overwhelming signal to that area of the body to stimulate it to engage in that type of action. Because the whole entire body and brain has been brain mapped. The whole entire biological system has been mapped. So they know what specific electrophysiological signal is dedicated to what. Why do you think there's stimulated responsive implants being put in people's feet? Okay? And just to throw this out there as well, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but a few years ago, a guy got in trouble for running somebody over on a university campus as a direct result of a riot starting. And it appears in the video that he was driving his car through a crowd and then ended up running somebody over. But some other people said concerning this incident that the guy was trying to flee because he was being targeted. Okay? So you got to understand something about remote neuromonitoring. Remote neuromonitoring can stimulate intense fear in your mind by stimulating specific areas of the brain that are dedicated to fear. You can also heterodyne fear onto the brain. Okay, from harvested emotional cluster frequencies of fear from another person. Research that to see ex-CIA scientist Dr. Robert Duncan. So if you got a guy who's in a car and a riot's developing around him, and who knows, he could have even been a gangstalking victim, whether he knows it or not, because he could be experiencing gangstalking crimes without knowing that he's a gangstalking victim. He could have been hit with that tech while he was in his car, because I think they were already painting him as being some type of white nationalist or something. And then therefore, if you can stimulate somebody to step on the gas while you're already in your car for another reason, then you can try and make it appear that a white nationalist ran somebody over. Oh, look at how bad the white nationalists are. I'm not a white nationalist. Never been affiliated with anybody dedicated to any type of group for any reason concerning any issue. I am making a point here, though. Okay? Now, it's already widely reported that they're doing this to several gangstalking victims, getting to accelerate so they end up getting in vehicle accidents and or set up for arrest, vehicle arrest, like for if they run a red light or whatever. So you need to keep this in mind. You got to remember something. We are literally dealing with the most satanic, evil, sadistic, freaked out maggot motherfuckers that have ever walked this planet. There's professors and scientists saying that about these wild whores. They will use and manipulate the most innocent person, including even manipulating that innocent person to commit crimes against another person as a direct result of that innocent person being neurologically and biologically influenced to do something, say something, so they can be set up. And so they can be set up for multiple crime motivations. Hold on. So I'm going to continue to play this audio.
That is spirobitizing. That is extremely hazardous. So in other words, we have a black agency engaging in hazardous use of neurotechnology, on people. And this is exactly, so literally Chris has called himself a living Manchurian, and frankly, we can all say that because we know what the whole Manchurian program is about. It's about biorobotizing. It's about creating assassins, sleeper assassins, creating, mass shooters, active shooters, creating people whose bodies can be taken over, whose volition and brain can be taken over to wreak havoc in the populace, So the creation of such a weapon, really, a weaponized human, it becomes very useful to these black agencies who are running already, as we know, these incredible false flags on all of us, with these many, many mass shooting events, which which are really drills turned bad suddenly, and then suddenly you have mass shooter in everyone's midst. So there, clearly, this is what is going on, and we are here to say that this is not what humanity wants. This kind of taking over of any human is extremely wrong. It's criminal. It's criminal, quite apart from it being sinful. It takes over somebody's will, somebody's life. So, you can go into the realms of religion as well with this one. But in terms of just human behavior and human community and human society, this is criminal behavior. So these agencies that are engaging in this kind of research and hiding it under classified labels and national security labels and keeping it dark and keeping it secret, these are crimes that they are committing. They are committing crimes in our midst.
And actually, in terms of the scale of the crimes, these are crimes against humanity. These are worse than the Nazi experiments. They are extremely torturous. This is premeditated torture. This is the premeditated destruction of a human's body, of their will, of their soul. Because now I'm moving, I can tell that the BCI, the AI, or whatever I'm connected to, is taking me over more and more. This morning I woke up with the soles of my feet burning, so I've got chip sensors absolutely everywhere. But yes, they are moving my pedal. As we're speaking, the chip that Swiss intelligence implanted in my navel in June has been turned on and is agonizingly painful. So that is basically a chip. When they turn it extremely painful, I collapse in pain, and all of these chips can be turned up so high that you throw up from the pain. And right now I'm being tortured. And the other thing I want all the victims to know is that you have been led to believe that you can never find out who's doing it. No. Actually, the more people do, the more handles we have on who's actually doing it. Because it's very simple. It can be cut down to very simple building blocks. Number one, whoever put the body chips in you, this is not a normal medical procedure, so it always goes back to Intel. Even when it was a hospital, it goes back to Intel. Intel infiltrated the hospital, and this is military technology. Now,
it could also be military intel. It could be the DIA or Army intelligence in the U.S. doing it.
Absolutely agree, but at the end of the day, your domestic anti-terror intelligence, this is usually domestic intelligence. In Britain, it would be MI5. If you start with them, it is their duty to fight terrorism and protect the civilian population. That's whatever they do in real life. This is what it says on the can. So it is not even your duty to do the full forensics and find out who did it. Leave it to them. Just sue the head of Intel, because ultimately the buck stops with them.
All right, now, what you want to do is bring up Techno Crime Fighters episode 51, which I've already told you how to do. Now, I want you to look at this right here. These are my eyes, Leslie Williams. These are non-consensual remote neuromonitoring islands implants in my eyes. Okay, the type of implants that are that's reported that these are light crystal, biofilm, ocular, OCCULAR. Okay, islands implants. It enables them to send visual images to them and video streams, forcing me to see the sick satanic shit that they fucking send to them. You also want to copy down, hold on one second. I have no memory whatsoever of how they got there. Okay, the bubbles you see on the white part of my eyes is eye fluid and water sacs as a result of the brain fluid, eye fluid, and water in the surrounding tissue of the eye boiling, because they literally tortured me for 18 straight full hours at 2 separate locations. Vaughn's Grocery Store, located on Regents Road and Arabia Street in La Jolla, California, on June 3rd, 2020, and the night before at a wooded area. This crime made me homeless. Okay? Bring up that YouTube video. That's Techno Crime Fighters episode 58. Now, when you bring up that playlist, go in and watch 50 and 50, what you just heard was from episode 51. And you want to continue to listen to it and this one, because it talks about these islands implants and some of the horrific ways they're used. Okay? My fellow American citizens, I'm just an average person. So they basically boiled my brain. and my face to the point to where the eye fluid and the water in the eyes boiled into bubbles, pushing the back part of the biofilm remote monitoring eye lens implants out, making them transparently visible. So this proves 3 crimes right here: non-consensual surgery, the non-consensual implantation, and the torture that produced the evidence. And these have been caught in many, at least 30 subsequent videos since, including videos dedicated to the YouTube account you're watching this video through. Everybody, thank you for listening. Have a good day. Again, that's Techno Crime Fighters episode 58. It discusses these eye lens implants. I'll probably make another video dedicated to this video series, because I want to play more of the Techno Crime Fighters episode number 51 that talks about virtual reality rooms and how these eye lens implants interfaces with them. All right, have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.